But our lead comes obviously from Arrowhead Stadium. And it was the kind of a night that got you all jonesed up. I had a very busy day here on Thursday, but the highlight was the NFL game. As we have spent many, many months with this build-up to the NFL season, the curtain finally raised. After how many hours of bullcrap that we talked about, oh, this is going to happen, that's going to happen. Well, now it's actually happening. And Patrick Mahomes, the reigning Super Bowl champion, celebrated. They got a nice little banner. And the Chiefs played host to what we were told the upstart Lions. Now, there were some pundits that said the Lions did not deserve to be in this game. They're overhyped, blah, 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 blah. So I don't know if you watched the game or not. Maybe you watched part of it and you tuned out. I don't know. I don't know what's going on in your life. But I can tell you, if you missed it, it's my good mitzvah of the day. I watched it. Very painful to have to watch an NFL game, unless it's not. So this one was not painful. Jared Goff, ex-Ram. He used to ram it all day and ram it all night. Jared Goff did not play particularly great in this game. He threw for 253 yards and a touchdown. And the new guy, David Montgomery, he's a running back. And he ran for the go-ahead score late in the game, and the Detroit football team able to hold off that last-second drive by Mahomes and the big, bad Kansas City offense, which was just bad, not big. 21-20, the final. So if you bet on the Lions plus the points, you won the game. You didn't even need the points as they take down the Chiefs. The Lions right now, and I want to say this especially for our friends listening in the great state of Michigan, the Detroit Lions have the NFL's top record and the team with the worst record, and they are in line to get the number one pick in the NFL draft if no other games are played. Kansas City. Will they take the SC quarterback with the number one pick? All right, so let us discuss the question. When you have a game that ends like this, but pretty much any game, you know what I like to do. If you've been with me a long time, the better story is in the losing locker room. That's where the drama is, and so that's where we will begin this Maller monologue. The question, who gets the blame? Let's play the blame game. We'll cut up the blame cake. Who gets the biggest slice of the blame cake for the Chiefs? So I've got Roberto Flores, candelabra, and safety blanket. And we will combine all of these things together, and we are going to make the number one pick-me-up food in the greater Kansas City area, the Ben Maller chicken fingers that will cheer you up, all you Chiefs fans in the kingdom that are bummed out because, come on, didn't expect that. All right, so A, listen, who gets the blame, biggest slice of the blame cake for the Chiefs? This is not that deep. This qualifies as an Occam's razor situation. The simplest answer is the correct answer, not some highfalutin answer. It's the simple answer. Patrick Mahomes, supporting cast, sucked at a time you cannot suck. Everyone needs a fall guy. I learned that from a former NFL receiver. If I'm Dan Campbell, head coach of the Detroit football team, and I'm issuing game balls, the first game ball that I issue goes to Kadarius Toney of the Chiefs. Now, he is listed as a wide receiver on Andy Reid's roster, but he was the Lions' MVP. He was the MVP. Kadarius Toney, former New York Giant. This guy's a speed burner. And that's why he was drafted and Chiefs traded for him. And he certainly has the skill set to be a heck of a ball player. But, man, did he have a want-to-get-away night for the Chiefs. And in many respects, he pulled a Roberto Flores. Now, Roberto was our lord of the board for a long time, and right now he's driving, in this case, Kadarius Toney driving the struggle bus is what he's doing there because he was credited with not one but two dropped passes. Now, I had no drop passes in this game. Of course, I didn't catch any passes, but we're talking about Kadarius Toney. So including the big one, that emasculating drop. You saw the game. You know what I'm talking about. There was a throw by Mahomes. He hits Kadarius Toney in stride. Perfect throw. Could not do it better. Squarely in the hands, which I didn't play in the NFL, but I'm told that's where you want to throw the ball to your receiver. Right in the hands. It was a 3rd and 6 play in the third quarter. The Chiefs trying to matriculate the ball down the field. And instead of Toney, as a professional receiver, hauling in the pass, and right there at his breadbasket and turning upfield to move the pylons. No! The ball ricocheted right off the hands. Kerplooey! And into the arms of a Detroit Lion defensive back, Brian Branch. And Brian Branch took that ball 50 yards. He was dancing. He found pay dirt, that pick six, and that tied the game at 14. A couple drives later, the Chiefs were threatening again to get down, go in the end zone. They had a 3rd down and 2 play from the 17-yard line of Detroit. Mahomes drops back this time. And what happens? It's like the Keystone Cops at wide receiver as Toney appears to, I don't know if you say collide, but there was a miscommunication with another Chiefs receiver, Richie James. They were not reading off the same song sheet. The crowd guffawed at this performance. And, yeah, that is I'd like to take off here. I am driving the struggle bus right off the cliff is what I'm doing. Now, page number 2 here. How did you react to what I say was the Bafo Sacco moment here early in the game? And Dan Campbell ran a trick play on a 4th down in the first quarter. Not fourth quarter, the first quarter. And it was pretty deep in Detroit territory. And if they had not gotten it, then that would have provided a golden opportunity for the Chiefs to just go down and get a quick touchdown. But to me, that play, I think it was about inside the 20-yard line for the Lions. That showed that Dan Campbell has not changed, that he continues to be crazier than an outhouse rodent. And I love it, right? Now, not my team, right? Not my team, not a Lions fan. And at that time, it was a scoreless game. It was early in the game. It's a feeling out process. And everyone's watching, right? Everyone's watching this game. It's the first game. It's the first day of school. And Dan Campbell says, you know what, boys? I have brass balls is what I have. And I'm going to go bite the kneecap off of the Kansas City special teams unit. And as the old line goes, if it works, right, you are a Mensa. And if that had not worked, it's like, well, Dan Campbell's a joker. He's not a real coach. Yeah, but it worked. And so those people, they crawl like cockroaches behind the refrigerator. Now, Andy Reid, special team coordinator, has some explaining to do on that play. Massive hiccup for the Chiefs early in the game. But you got to make that play, right? It's just the NFL. You got to make that play. But overall for the Lions, we're not going to spend too much time on the Lions because they won. That's boring. But it was not the game-changing moment. But this win in the game, setting up the season with a victory in Kansas City, it works like the candelabra, right? It sets the mood. It validates that the Lions are not total chumps. They did deserve to be in this game. It was unexpected by many. Now, at the same time, there will be those that will point out Kansas City was without not one but 2 of their top 3 players in this game, and the Lions still needed a push across the finish line by some absolute football negligence by the Chiefs in order to win that game. But at the end of the year, you look back, that's a big-time win. That's a big-time win for the Detroit Lions to go into Arrowhead and walk out of there with a victory. Now, the last word here. Let's go back to the loser's side of the ledger. How much trouble are the Chiefs in after losing the opener? So on the patented MALLER scale of concern, 1 to 10, with 10 being you wake up from a coma and Joshua Dobbs is your starting quarterback. Shout out Cardinals. So I am at a 3 on the MALLER scale of concern. I'm at a 3. So here's the deal. Why am I only at a 3? First of all, it's the first game. Now, when you lose 1 game in the NFL, it's akin to losing 10 games in baseball. So that's the comp. But the Chiefs have the ultimate safety blanket, Patty Mahomes. And while it is true he cannot throw the ball to himself, cannot do it, but there's no need to have a primal scream. Travis Kelce will be coming back, and even if he plays as a decoy, that helps you out. And if Kadarius Toney plays another game like this, the Chiefs will send him on a one-way ticket to a Russian gulag. They'll send him on his way. And if the Chiefs continue to stumble and bumble, then it's up to Andy Reid and the front office there to get together, have a powwow, and give up a bunch of scratcher tickets to get, whether it's Mike Evans of Tampa or Terry McLaurin out of Washington, someone along that line that is a premium receiver on a second-rate team. But what did you think also of Chris Jones attending this game while holding out? This was very bizarre to me, very oddball. He was there. He was sitting in a luxury box. Jones is the defensive star of Kansas City. And I could not help. I saw these photos of him. People were taking photos, and they were just like, wow, this guy's here. He's sitting in the front row. But it was like going to a bonfire. And what they're burning is not logs. They're burning your money. He lost over $1 million by not playing in that game, not being on the Chiefs roster, holding out. And he went to the game. He lost $1 million in earnings that was his money. And they just burned it up right there in a big fire pit. And he was there to watch it burn. Isn't that odd? To me, that's odd. I would be very uncomfortable. But I guess he didn't care. And this game does not help Chris Jones' cause. Some will say, well, the Chiefs lost. See, no, they didn't lose because of their defense. The defense only allowed a couple of touchdowns. They allowed 14 points. And they kept the Lions pretty much in check. The Lions didn't do much on third down. This is not a really impressive Detroit Lions offense against the Chiefs defense without their top players. Just was not. I mean, that's the reality of the situation. Let's get you a little post-game flavor here. Big Red, Andy Reid. Good old Andy. Now, Andy, he's got the same monotone delivery after every game. He has had the same delivery going back to his days in Philadelphia. So, Andy Reid, here we go. Let's go to Andy. This is at the post-game days here. He was asked about his wide receivers who were horrific at just doing the simple thing like catching the football. What do you have to say about that, Andy?
It's unusual for us to drop that many passes anywhere, anytime. So we'll go back and work on that. But you got to take care of business, and these guys know that, and so we've got to fix that.
Now, at one point in the game, late in the game, the Chiefs had all their timeouts. They were facing a 4th and 20. There was a penalty, 4th and 25. And, rather than me tell you, let's hear the question. You'll hear Andy's response to the coaching decision in the late game stages.
Andy, that sequence before the 2-minute warning, you go for it on 4th and 20, and then you go for it again after the penalty. Can you explain that with 3 timeouts?
Yeah, I thought that we needed to do that. So at that particular time, they'd driven the ball on us, and so I thought it was important that we gave that a shot. So, we still had some time on the clock.
All right, same delivery, same cadence, and all that. So, what do you think? Is this a big deal? I don't think it's a big deal. It's bigger for the Lions than it is for the Chiefs. Now, if Kansas City starts stacking losses, then we've got something here. Then we can revisit this. But I'm only at a 3 at this point on the MALLER scale of panic, which is the ultimate measuring stick when it comes to early season NFL losses.